I became the first woman in my family to refuse an arranged marriage. Last night, my grandmother revealed why she secretly supported me. I was 22 when my parents presented me with a folder containing Amir's photo, family history, and investment portfolio. 3 generations of women in my family had nodded obediently. At this exact moment, I pushed the folder away and said 2 words that shattered a century of tradition. I won't. That single refusal cost me everything: my family's support, my childhood home, and my place in the only community I'd ever known. My mother stopped calling. My father returned my letters unopened. At family gatherings, I was traveling or studying, never simply absent by choice. For 2 years, my existence was reduced to whispers and headshakes. Such a shame about Leela. While my cousins married men chosen by their parents, I built a life in a different city. I finished medical school, opened a women's health clinic, and fell in love with someone I chose, minus a kind surgeon named Michael, who understood why I flinched whenever marriage was mentioned. Then last year, my grandmother fell ill. Despite the estrangement, I flew home immediately. Family tradition dictated that only married female relatives could care for her, but none had medical training. After a tense standoff in the hospital hallway, my credentials outweighed my marital status. For 6 weeks, I lived in my grandmother's house, checking her vitals and adjusting medications while enduring silent meals with relatives who treated me like a competent stranger rather than family. My mother would leave the room when I entered. My father spoke to me only about grandmother's condition. One night, while organizing grandmother's medications, I found an old photograph hidden inside her pillowcase, minus a young woman in a nurse's uniform standing beside a handsome man in military dress. Neither was my grandfather. His name was Nabid. Grandmother whispered, startling me. He was a doctor. I wanted to be a nurse. Confused, I sat beside her bed as she revealed the secret she'd kept for 70 years. I met him at the hospital where I volunteered. For 6 months, we exchanged letters. He asked me to marry him. Her eyes filled with tears. The day I planned to tell my parents about him, they announced my engagement to your grandfather. She gripped my hand with surprising strength. I did what was expected. I married a good man I never loved. I raised children. I buried my dreams alongside the letters I burned the night before my wedding. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because when you stood in our living room and refused to follow tradition, I saw myself as I should have been. Her voice grew stronger. It was my hand that slipped money into your account each month after your father cut you off. It was my voice on the phone those nights you cried. Though I disguised it so well, you thought I was a hospital colleague. I stared at her, speechless. Breaking a toxic tradition always costs something, Leela, but continuing it costs everything. Last night, I brought my grandmother to my wedding, minus against my parents' wishes, but with her adamant insistence. At 92, she traveled 5 hours to watch me marry Michael in a ceremony that honored both our cultures but followed no one's rules but our own. During the reception, my mother approached tentatively, studying my face as if seeing me for the first time. You look happy, she said finally. Not a congratulation, but not a condemnation either. I am happy, I replied. Your grandmother says you've opened a clinic for women who can't afford care. I nodded, waiting for criticism that didn't come. Instead, she said, my sister's daughter wants to study medicine too. Would you speak with her? As my grandmother watched from across the room, I saw 3 generations of possibility unfold: mine's what was, what is, and what might yet be. Sometimes breaking a chain costs you everything you've known, but gives you everything you need to become who you were meant to be.